a novel or fiction story, or something that is not really related to academia, so you don't bother to cite any reference. But when it comes to academic writing, like the one that you will be involving in, is you will need to have citation. If you don't cite anything in your thesis or in your technical paper, it is something that is very, very weird, because I can say it is impossible for you to come out, for example, with a very new method that you are not relying to other people's work. Normally, let's say your method or your procedure for your experiment is novel. For example, novel means that it is not the same with what other people have done, but at least you will undergo literature review. You will do some searching to get at least to get some idea on how would you start your experiment or something like that. So it is, I can say, very impossible if you are writing an academic writing without any citation involved. Okay, so I am sure that, and I hope that most of you are now in the stage of writing, starting to prepare for your thesis writing, drafting, at least drafting, and get some idea, so that you need to start right now. You need to start by now. You should start at least draft, and you need to discuss with your supervisor. Keep on track, because normally supervisors are very busy, so you need to catch them up. You need to follow up with them. You don't wait for your supervisor to text you or to ask you your progress. So you need to somehow show your proactiveness. You need to catch up with your supervisor, because your supervisor is very busy, and she or he might overlook to your work. So sedar-sedar nanti, oh, it's time for you to submit your thesis. Time tu you baru nak submit to your supervisor for checking. So that would be very late lah untuk you improvise. So at that time, maybe your supervisor just check and give mark. By right, along the process, your supervisor need to check and need to improvise your write up lah, so that your skill of writing tu improves lah, macam tu. Okay, so along the way, my presentation, you may just stop and ask anything. So we can just Q&A will go through along the way. No need to wait for me to finish the presentation. Okay, first of all, what is literature review? Okay, anyone here have any idea on what is literature review? I can see here nama siapa? Alif. Alif, what is literature review in your current understanding?
Pardon, Doctor, can you repeat the question? Because I'm not in my room. I'm in the 1K teacher, so I cannot really hear. Can you repeat your question?
My question is, in your current understanding, what do you understand about literature review ni?
In my current understanding, for me, literature review is like we read an article or established writing by by someone who is in the academic field, and then we make some sort of summary, or we pull out the important points from that specific writing.
Exactly. Thank you, Alif. Correct. The correct answer, accurate answer. 10 marks for you, Alif. So yes, what I have mentioned is absolutely correct. In literature review, we will be summarizing what people have done before. In literature review, we only report what other people has done, has undergo that method, has undergo that result, has obtained that result, something like that. So in literature review, we can either, because we are summarizing, the main idea of literature review is we will look what other people have done, and at that stage we will try to come out to figure out anything or something new that we can come out to perform or to do to improve. For example, first one is to improve the previous processes, to improve the previous method. Second one is to obtain higher product yield, for example. So normally to obtain, because in doing research, we need to always move forward, be advanced. So we should not repeat the mistakes what other people have done previously. So by undergo the literature review, by reading lots of other previous work, so you can have some rough idea on what should or what should not you do for your research. So basically, the literature review is a written overview of major writings and other sources on a selected topic. Okay, so in literature review, there are so many sources that that maybe if you just Google the rough or the general title that you want to search, maybe you can find maybe more than thousands of articles that you should read. So I will teach you how to selectively screen a few that is quite near with what you want to find. So there are some tips lah. Okay, so the literature review provides a description, okay, summary, and evaluation of each source. So this is what you will be doing when you are writing your literature review. You are describing what other people have done. Okay, you will describe, for example, you will describe regarding the methods that they have performed, what are the results from the method that they perform, something, describing what people have done in terms of describing their methods or describing their product, their result. Secondly is summary. You are summarizing. So it is also recommended in literature review in the chapter 2, if you can come out with a table, summary table, okay, whereby you have several columns. For example, the column for what are the topics, and then the references. So if you are able to come up with a summary table for your literature review, so this is very good. It indicates that you have managed to perform the summary for each of the reference quite thorough. Okay, so if you can have the comparison table, that would be a added value lah for your literature review chapter. And evaluation. So besides you describe what other people have done, besides you summarizing what others have obtained or gained from their project, you need to be also have the ability to evaluate. For example, you have, okay, let's say the simple example, you are comparing, for example, the paper A and paper B. So maybe paper A, this paper A, they are using method A, and they obtain their result, for example, 80%. This paper B, they are using different method with the paper from paper A, different method, and they obtain slightly higher product yield. For example, maybe 85%. So you need to be able to evaluate why does this paper A is paper B, the researcher from B paper can obtain much more higher yield compared to the paper A, the author from paper A. So what's the contributor of the higher yield obtained by the paper B, for example? So these are the kinds of evaluation that you need to perform lah. So with the additional of evaluation in the literature review, that would be a very good advantage. So that would be one of the great point for you to, and also as the supervisor also, or any readers, if they would like to read your thesis lah. So by having your evaluation in terms of the sentence, so it helps them also to for their evaluation, for their future evaluation also. So in chapter 2, it is also good if you can somehow have a critical evaluation, a critical review. So, but I understand you are only undergraduate, so it takes time for you to think critically. So it's okay. This is a learning process. So discuss critically. It means that when you read, for example, a journal performed by a researcher. So when you read that journal, so a critical thinker means that whenever you read any sources, you are not just understanding and agreeing with what the paper is mentioning about. If you have the ability to read, understand, and critics what's the limitations of the paper, that is another level, that is higher level. Even postgraduate students have this difficulty in having the critical discussion or critical literature review. Okay, so judging, you can judge why, and you can argue. Sometimes a critical review, they can question, for example, this method is not appropriate because of what, something like that. But of course, this needs experience. This will grow by experience and by age also. So for you, it is good enough if you can describe what other people have done and also summarize. So that is good enough lah for your level. Okay. It is usually presented as a distinct section of a graduate thesis or dissertation. Okay, normally for Malaysia, we call it thesis. For example, US, they call it dissertation. So the same meaning, thesis or dissertation, it means the same final report from your project. Importantly, it provides an overview of current knowledge, allowing you to identify relevant theories, methods, gaps in the existing research. So in literature review, it is very open on what you want to discuss or compare or summarize. You can summarize the theory that paper A, B, C, D have undergo through. You can summarize the method that they are using. You can summarize the gaps or the limitation that exists in each of the journal article. Also, so there are many ways on how you want to summarize or describe what people have done in your literature review. Okay. So why write a literature review? What is the important? So basically the important is for you or for us to get the general idea, and for that, so it triggers what we should focus on our current research, because we should not repeat the same thing that what other people have done before. That is not a research. So a research needs to be novel, needs to be unique, and needs to be not the same with what other people have done. So in order to do that, so that's why it is very important for us to read. Read means you are doing the literature review. So you from reading, you will know, okay, this method has been performed by researcher A. This data or experiment has been performed by researcher B. So and then later on, after you come out with literature review, the chapter 2, that's why comes chapter 3. That's why chapter 2, you need to undergo first the literature review before chapter 3. It's on your methodology, right? The chapter 1 is introduction. Chapter 2 is literature review first before the methodology. The structure is not introduction, methodology, literature review. No, you need to do literature review first. So that's why literature review is in your chapter 2. Okay. And then afterwards, after you have refined, you have understand what people have done before, and then comes to the chapter 2, whereby you come out with your own method that you have somehow tried to improve and gather the knowledge from what other people have done before. You try to get knowledge and modify a little bit maybe, and come up with your own method with the hope that your new proposed method can enhance your result or your product yield or something, your output lah, can improve your output. Okay, that is the general lah, why we need to write a literature review. The purpose of literature review is to provide a critical written account of the current state of research on a selected topic. So I am sure that every one of you here have different topic that will not be the same with the rest of your other colleagues. I am sure. So it identifies areas of prior scholarship, places each source in the context of its contribution to the understanding of the specific issue, area of research or theory under review. Okay, maybe some of you have not yet come out with your objective of your project maybe, but I hope that at the current stage, we are now in week 9, isn't it? You should have your a clear objective lah of your research, of your project, FYP project ni. If not yet, so you should follow up with your supervisor lah. Okay, need to follow up. You need to follow up. If you have a proactive supervisor that always kejar you, so it's okay. But if let's say you have a supervisor yang biar je, wants to see how's your attitude, so that would be a problem on your side nantilah later on. Okay, describes the relationship of each source to the others that you have selected. Describe the relationship, summarizing, macam tu lah. Identifies new ways to interpret and shed light on any gaps in previous research. So by doing literature review also, you know what are the gaps in the previous research. Gaps tu apa? Okay, siapa sini? Ainul Hayat. Saya sebut je nama-nama yang ada, yang keluar kat saya punya ni. Ainul Hayat. Yeah. What do you understand with research gap?
Apa doktor?
Research gap. Apa yang Ainul faham dengan kalau orang sebut research gap?
Research gap tu macam gap research tu
research tu dia gap. Macam tu. Okay, tak apa. Research gap is something that gap tu kan macam apa, jurang kan kalau dalam bahasa Melayu. So dia macam indicating kelemahan lah, sebenarnya dia kelemahan pada previous research. The limitations, the gap, biasa sebut the gap tu ataupun limitation ataupun benda yang menjadi halangan, sekatan ataupun sesuatu yang tidak berjaya lagi, not yet successful from the previous research. So by having the previous gap, so your objective here, for example, current objective is you want to bridge the gap. Maksudnya nak membina bridge tu macam jambatan untuk mengurangkan jurang tu. Nak close the gap ke, orang panggil istilahnya to bridge the gap, to close the gap, macam tu lah. Istilahnya untuk kita improve lah, nak improvise macam-macam lah, that can be improvise method, improve product, improve output, macam-macam. Points the way forward for future research. And also normally when you read a journal article, normally di bahagian conclusion ataupun towards the end of the discussion, result discussion tu, normally but not always, normally author akan will write future ataupun recommendation ataupun future prospect of their current work. Normally macam tu. So sometimes we can get the idea on what we want to do by looking at the mentioned recommendation from the previous paper. Macam dia recommend something lah, sebab mungkin at his or her project tu, due to the time constraint ataupun limitation in terms of insufficient equipment ke and so on, dia tak boleh nak proceed. And then dia suggest future recommendation is for researcher, future researcher to embark or to study more or experimental more on blah 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 blah. So sometimes we can get the idea on what we want to do by reading the future recommendations from the previous work. Normally a journal article ada, tapi tak semua lah. But for high impact journal normally ada. Okay, next component of the literature review. Okay, these are the component. We have objective, overview. Kita tak adalah in literature review in chapter 2 we don't really write objective apa-apa. Tak ada. Yang tu kita dah you have written it in the chapter 1. Ini just macam a rough idea. Kita tak ada dah clearly tulis objective. No, it is not like that. Di dalam literature review normally kita ada paragraph kan, because dia macam karangan lah, you buat karangan summarizing other people's in paragraph in words. So normally okay, let's say in chapter 2 you have let's say 10 paragraphs. So normally the way we do it is the first paragraph tu kita membincangkan, kita comparekan other people's works untuk bahagian objektif kajian. Dia ada it shows a flow, and then kita paragraph number 2 mungkin kita comparing the methods macam tu. Paragraph number 3 we are comparing in terms of the yield, the response, the result. For example macam tu lah. That is just for example. And then overview of the subject under consideration. Kita ada overview, clear categorization of sources selected in those in support of your particular position, those opposed, and those offering completely different arguments. So also in literature review, you can compare the previous study that is aligned with what you want to do, and also you can also compare with the other study who are doing research that is, for example, opposite from what you are doing. Because in literature review, there are so many ways for us to describe and to compare what other people have done lah. So ada yang agree dengan other people punya work. Ada yang paragraph untuk argument. Dia nak argue, dia nak kritik other people have punya work. So normally for FYP student ni agak mencabar lah, quite be challenging for you to come up with this stage of critics. You want to critique what people have done or what people have published, kan? Normally yang the undergo experience, for example macam professors, these professors they should have the ability to critique, to argue what people have done because of their experience lah. Macam at your stage, because maybe still lacking of experience. So bila like experience macam kita nak argue kan, so normally you will just agree lah with what people have published too. Okay, discussion on both the distinctive of each source and its similarity with others. So you can also discuss macam as I said, you can discuss the similarity. You can also discuss what is opposed from what you are going to do. Macam itulah. In a literature review, you are aiming to summarize and provide a critical analysis, ni higher level lah, of the research arguments you have found in your readings without making new contributions to the literature. Okay, dia autoplay, sorry setting ni sekejap So remember in literature review, in chapter 2 literature review, you are not discussing on a new contribution, new knowledge. So new knowledge tu supposedly in your chapter 4 result and discussion, you can come up with a new contribution from your result. In chapter 2 tu you just summarize and kalau boleh you can analyze and critiques lah what people have done. Itu saja. No new contributions should be added lah in the literature review. Okay, hence the term is literature review. Literature ni literature yang telah ditulis ataupun dimaklumkan sebelum ini, review. You are just reviewing. Nama pun literature review. So you just reviewing without making any new contributions di dalam chapter 2. Identify sources. So what are the sources that you can use to refer to do the literature review macam tu. So there are many sources lah. can be books, academic journals, and any useful published work from reputable scholars. So any sources can, but advisedly you use academic journal lah, refer to journal because to publish a journal, it is not very easy. We need to undergo several reviewers to review first and to comment, to critics what our works, and not just that, we need to defend. Defend and to respond to the reviewers' comment or reviewers' argument, reviewers' critics. We need to try to defend, and they will send back to the reviewers. And then the reviewer will check on our comment. If the reviewers agree, then they will mention to the editor this work can be published. If the reviewers do not agree, so they will suggest the editor to reject the work or the paper. So it is not a very easy thing to publish a journal, especially to the high impact one lah. Okay. So you can also do citation from website. For example, you just Google and go to any website. For example, Wikipedia, you can. But for academic writing, citing, for example, Wikipedia too, it is very lowest ranking lah. A very cincai one, because for example Wikipedia, anyone can alter can add, can alter, can delete, anyone can. So dia akan berubah-ubah, dia mungkin boleh berubah sebab it is not, sebab sesiapa pun boleh tambah-tambah, boleh add in the Wikipedia. Tapi you still can lah, can. And dia ada cara, there are ways how to cite. Cara nak tulis reference tu. So for example, for citation, any sources that you obtain from the website, you kena letak cara penulisan untuk citation kat di bahagian in your reference nanti kan. Dia ada cara nak letak, dia kena masukkan tarikh pada bila you buka that website tu kat Wikipedia. Contohnya you ambil data tu pada tarikh sekian bila. Sebab mungkin pada tarikh lain akan datang maklumat tu mungkin dah di-remove. So bila orang nak trace, tak ada pun. Tapi you kata ada. Macam tu. Dia ada cara lah. So you need to follow the UTM guide, UTM thesis guideline. Dia ada cara. Kalau nak cite journal artikel macam mana. Kalau nak cite books macam mana. Kalau nak cite magazine, newspaper, macam mana cara. Kalau nak cite sources from government, policies macam mana. Kalau nak cite sources from website, macam mana, dia ada cara. So you need to follow lah the format. Okay, remember the abstract of a source is a very useful tool. Having a quick scan of the abstract and its wiki words will often give you an indication of whether the source will be useful for your research or not. Okay, so this is one of the tips macam mana you nak screen. Kan ada banyak journal dan I am sure at your level ni, most of you may feel hard to understand, to read even one article ambil masa, maybe you need to read more than once or more than twice probably. Mungkin dah baca kali ketiga, keempat baru faham, because they are using jargons kan, kata-kata yang high, yang tinggi dah levelnya, yang bahasa akademia macam tu kan. So dia lain dengan if you read a storybook kan, novel, dia lain, sangat lain. So it needs knowledge untuk you faham. Even at my current stage pun, if I am reading a journal that is not in my area of expertise pun, I find it difficult also to understand, and I may need to reread for the second time at a certain pace. So macam tu. So I understand at your level lah, because I have been at your level. So it's okay. Caranya, first of all, to screen kan, sebab maybe you have so many articles that is related, for example, it's related to your work. So first of all, read the abstract. Abstract tu biasanya normally consists of 200 to 300 words sahaja, sikit sahaja. So first you read the abstract. Okay, sebab kadang title seems connect dengan what you are doing, but when you read abstract, sebenarnya tak ada kaitan sangat. So you can just remove that. You don't need to proceed further with the reading. Okay, if you look at if you read the abstract, ni memang really closely related to your research, and then you can go deeper thorough reading for that article. So this is one tips lah. Besides looking at the title pun plays a role juga. Kan, title is the first screening lah, kadang-kadang title tu macam kena berkaitan, tapi bila you baca abstract tak kena sangat lah. So don't waste your time lah to go through. So better for you to go through journal yang sangat closely related to your work lah, because you are doing PSM and your time is not so much sebenarnya kan. Even though you have one semester to do your literature review ni lah, this semester ni, even though nampak one semester tu macam lama lah kan, 5 to 6 months, but you are not focusing totally on your PSM lah. You have classes to attend, macam-macam lagi kan. You are not postgraduate, which where they can fully focus on their research 100%. So you are not macam tu. So this is how you screen lah, ni macam screening process. And then the other one, after you have read the abstract, look at the keywords. Biasanya ada keywords tau. After the abstract, ada keywords. Kalau this is for journal, I'm talking about journal article. So look at the keywords. Kalau keywords tu ada kaitan, you baca. Kalau keywords tu macam lari jauh, tak ada pun, because normally keywords consist of 4 to 5 words. Keywords tu tak banyak. So normally 4 to 5 keywords. So the keywords are actually panggil apa, macam umpama the heart of the paper. Dia menceritakan tentang apa, tunjang-tunjang dia, macam tu lah. So if the keywords are not relevant, so you better don't waste your time lah to read. Try to find another article. Okay, so how to start? Read lah. No option, no choice, you need to read. Okay, janganlah read media sosial sahaja. Okay, when writing your review, literature review, okay, first use sample literature reviews. Okay, have a look at sample of literature reviews in your subject area and read them thoroughly to familiarize yourself with existing key debates and themes. This can be a good starting point for framing and structuring your own review. So I just share my experience lah, zaman dulu, because yelah baru nak belajar, just starting to understand apa ni literature review, macam tu, macam bela-bela lagi zaman tu. So what I did is I cari journal article yang closely related, and then I baca dia punya literature review, and then at that time I ambil sebiji, just copy and paste literature review from source A, from another source B, copy paste. Oh, nampak macam dah banyak dah perenggan. This is my way lah. Tak semestinya kena ikut cara saya, but I'm just sharing lah. So nampaklah macam dah banyak, macam as if I have dah write a lot, but actually semua copy paste from other sources. And then what I did, I copy and paste 100% copy and paste, and I terus add in the citation. Sebab nanti I takut lost. I dah tak ingat dah kat mana dah I ambil reference ni, macam tu lah. Copy and paste, and I directly include the citation. Paragraph ni is taken from which sources, macam tu lah. And then after dah nampak macam cantik dah, macam banyak dah perenggan tu, what I did is I reorganize the current sentence tu yang dah copy ni, yang mana yang I rasa ni patut dia berada di atas, I rearrange macam tu, and then I rephrase. Kalau tak, memang 100% similarity lah kalau chapter 18. This is my style lah. Time tu I tengah belajar kan, merangkak, so I memang copy and paste macam tu. So you can also follow my style macam tu lah. At least time tu, at least bila saya, even though I copy paste saja, at least I macam, my chapter 2 is almost done. Macam tu lah, it's almost done. Padahal semua tu copy paste saja, tapi at least somehow it motivates me lah. Macam, I dah buat banyak ni, something like that. So it's up to you how you managed to do. Okay, and then keep it simple. In your literature review, you won't be expected to address every argument or perspective concerning your topic. You'll make your work easier if you limit the scope of your work. Ni answering also in your chapter 1, you should have your scope of study. Scope tu lah yang put the limit to what aspect that you want to study. If you don't have your scope of work, you can do anything, never endlessly. So you need to put the scope. The scope is limiting. So your research area is only focusing on this only. Other than this scope, I am not going to focus. Macam tu lah, due to the time constraint ni. Okay, so then make sure your sources are as current as possible. This is important also. It is advisable for you to read the previous 5 years journal. Contohnya, we are now in 2023, right? So paling lama 2019 lah. 19, 20, 21, 22. 2019 is it means that article or sources from 2019 until 2023 ni needs to be the most dominant citation and reference in your chapter 2. It doesn't mean that you cannot cite the old reference in 80 something 1990s. It doesn't mean like that. You still can, but make it in a minimal. If you want to cite the old article, just minimum number. So cite more because why? Because technology are emerging, for example, and they have undergo lots of improvement. So why the argument is why we still to look to the old method. For example lah, just for an analogy. For example, zaman batu, mereka nak nyalakan api. They want to hit the light, kan, source of light. Mereka geser-geserkan stone or stick, kan, kayu. Okay, zaman sekarang ni kita dah pakai apa? Tak, lampu kan. So for example, kenapa nak lihat contoh cara zaman batu dulu yang kena geser-geser baju, susah-susah payah nak kena guna tenaga macam tu. So macam dia tak menjadi benda yang relevant sangat untuk our generation untuk compare method tu. Kenapa kita tak compare method yang terkini? Macam tu. That is the reason why lah. Avoid to cite the very, very old reference. Cite more, if I'm not mistaken, roughly lah, 70% from your total reference needs to be within this previous 5 years, from 2019 until 2023. Macam tu lah. Okay, janganlah 70% semua yang lama-lama, 30% yang baru, no. That indicates not a good scientific writing lah. And then consider the organization of your work. The body is main core of your work. So it's important to consider how you will frame and organize it. Okay, I am going lebih cepat. Okay, 5 steps in writing the literature review. Okay, searching for relevant literature. Macam tu lah what I teach you. Can go to the screening. Read the abstract. And if want to add more, abstract, conclusion. Read the conclusion, you tengok. Kalau dia close to your and relevant, go ahead to read the full article. If not, just leave it. And then evaluate the source. Okay. And then identify themes, debate gaps, outline the structure. Buatlah structure. It's good if your literature review tu dia macam penceritaan, like you are telling a story on what you have read before. Kalau boleh adalah dia punya outline, dia punya structure tu kan, jalan cerita. Macam tu lah, as if lah. And then start writing your literature review. A good literature review doesn't just summarize sources. Bukan sahaja buat summary tu lah. It can able to analyze. Kita buat analisis. Kita synthesis, come up with a new and critics. Macam tu idea to give a clear picture of the state of knowledge on the subject. Okay, step 1 tadi, search for literature review. You need a clearly defined topic. Okay, of course, patutnya you kena ada topik lah, tajuk sekarang ni. Okay, may I ask, is there anybody yang still tak ada tajuk lagi? Tak ada tajuk for your FYP project until week 9 ni? Ada tak? Siapa yang sangat? Andi Suryana. I just speak randomly.
Doctor.
Okay, Andi, may I know what is your topic for your FYP project? Roughly lah.
The effect of temperature on energy consumption of glycerol manufacturing process.
Okay, good. May I ask another one? Krista, your title, roughly? Ada tak Krista? Your rough title lah, because maybe some of you yang belum refine lagi kan title, but at least we have the idea lah what you are going to do. Okay, Krista punya title apa?
Mine is comparison of method of
Tak dengar lah Krista.
mine is doktor, boleh dengar?
Apa dia? Your title apa tadi?
Method of comparison method of dari bawah.
Tak dengar, dia macam you just I just hear macam mumbling macam tu. Tak apalah. Okay, but it seems like you have lah, you already have. Okay, good. Okay, and then start by creating a list of keywords related to your research topic question with the abstract. Okay, macam tu lah with the abstract, and then conclusion. And then you can find out how many times an article has been cited on Google Scholar. A high citation count means the article has been influential in the field. So macam tu lah. So you boleh pergi ke Google Scholar if you want to find journal article. I suggest you to go to find it in Google Scholar. Not just the common Google. You buka Google Scholar, type Google Scholar, you buka Google Scholar, and then you type any bidang yang you nak cari. Jadi that will appear tu semua adalah journal article, scientific reports, macam tu lah. If you go to general Google macam tu, macam-macam keluar, tak semestinya journal article, website pun keluar. Tapi if you go through search, you go to using a search engine, Google Scholar punya, dia memang semua yang result yang keluar tu memang adalah scientific reports ataupun a journal lah, macam tu. So you can dah screen kat situ lebih cepat lah, faster lah. So kat situ di Google Scholar dia ada tulis, you can look at the citation. Dia ada tulis citation dekat setiap tajuk tu. So those article indicate showing high citation, contohnya ada 100 ataupun yang tajuknya ada 1000 cite paper tu, it indicates that paper is very good lah. Very good, dalam masa mudahnya very good, very excellent. Yang ramai people are reading it. Mungkin dia punya project tu memang up to date, the latest one lah, macam tu lah. Okay, useful databases to search for journals and articles. You can use Scopus, Web of Science, Wiley, macam-macam lah, macam-macam lagi. So yang paling mudahnya adalah Google Scholar lah. Even me myself pun until currently pun I memang use Google Scholar. Macam dah jadi macam kawan lah, memang every day kena buka Google Scholar. So how to do literature search? Okay, nanti ni kalau ada masa saya tunjuk lah, sebab ni this is video lah. Macam mana tunjuk. So evaluate and select sources. Okay, ni kita buat you will do evaluation. So by reading, by undergoing the reading kan literature, you should ask lah in yourself, okay, this paper dia punya problem apa, what is the problem for this research done by this author, what is, the key concept dia macam mana, apa yang teori, model ataupun methods yang dia cuba bawa ataupun yang dia cuba sampaikan, conclusion dia macam mana, macam tu lah. What does the publication relate to other literature, and then what are the key insights and argument yang boleh dibuat, strength and weaknesses of the research. It is also good in the literature review punya chapter, you can come up with, macam tadi as I mentioned, table kan, summarizing table of summary ke apa, ataupun table yang you can analyze, buat analysis, the strengths and weaknesses for each source yang you baca. That would be another added value also. Okay, you can figure out, okay, paper ni by researcher ni apa dia punya kelemahan kajian dia dan apa dia punya kekuatan kajian dia. If you are able to do that, that is another level. Okay, as you read, you should begin writing you should begin the writing process. Ni cara saya macam ni lah. Saya if when I read an article, Itu yang saya buat dulu waktu yang tengah merangkak nak belajar how to write scientific writing ni. Sambil saya baca, saya memang terus copy paste ke dalam saya punya my own manuscript or my own thesis lah. Sebab apa? Sebab bila saya baca sampai habis, and then I baca the second article, baca third article, I dah lupa dah the first article is what is the first article is about. Macam tu. Depending lah. Mungkin that is my weaknesses. Baca artikel pertama, lepas tu baca artikel kedua, artikel pertama dah lupa dah. So sebelum I lupa, that's why I dah copy paste. Dan jangan lupa untuk terus buat citation. Nanti kan kita dah susah nak trace ni from jurnal mana tadi, kan. So what I did, macam tu cara saya. And then maulah saya akan refine balik the writing with my own words. It is important to keep track of your sources with citations to avoid plagiarism. Okay, inilah penting plagiarism. For FYP, thesis and also technical report should not exceed 30, kan? If I'm not mistaken, for FYP 30. If postgraduate barulah 20 tu. For undergraduate, your chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, 4, 5 tu, each chapter tu should not exceed 30% of the plagiarism index. Okay, apa lagi? Okay, you can also use ni, or what we call it as citation generator. You can use EndNote ke Mendeley. Ni adalah macam software ataupun tool. It's actually tool to assist you in doing citation much more quicker. You can do it manually. You can use EndNote ataupun Mendeley. Normally the researcher ataupun students ni dia biasa dengan EndNote Mendeley lah. Maybe there are other tools, but I am not familiar. I'm just familiar with EndNote or Mendeley lah. Tools tu dia akan auto cite and auto masukkan dalam bahagian reference. So dia lebih cepat lah untuk you siapkan you punya writings macam tu. Quick. Okay. And then dia boleh setting kat situ nak, sebab style of citation, if you are aware lah, dia ada kadang ada journal tu dia guna sistem numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 so on. Ada yang guna sistem what we call it Harvard style. Harvard tu dia ada tulis author dia and year. Let's say lah author Shin 2023. Contoh macam tu lah. Itu namanya Harvard. Biasanya Harvard ataupun numbering lah. You can use any of the citation format, but must always be consistent. So you can choose any format for your thesis. For example, you want to use numbering, so you need to fit with numbering style 1, 2, 3 sampai 100 ke apa, so on throughout your writing. You janganlah kejap you guna numbering, kejap you guna Harvard style, campur-campur. Cannot be like that. Okay. Example of Harvard. This is example lah of Harvard style. Ni macam ni. Okay, macam ni. Ni dia ada Harvard under Harvard style, which is author. Dia ada bagi tahu author and tahun berapa, year. Pun ada macam-macam cara. Ada what we call it, they call it MLA, ada APA. So the difference ni in terms of dia punya cara nak masukkan dalam bahagian reference lah. Contoh kat sini. Example, kalau MLA citation style, dia punya first the author. Okay, sama juga dengan APA, author juga di mention at first. Tapi dia punya year of publication dia letak di at the back. Kalau MLA lah, kalau APA, after author dia terus masukkan year dia. Itu depends on the style. Whatever style, you need to be consistent. Kalau you pilih cara ni, you can fix lah dengan cara tu saja throughout your reference. Macam tu lah. Okay, ni ada a few. Ni numbering style pula. Dia guna system number. Macam ni. So ni di dalam text, it looks macam ni lah. Ada bracket and number. Okay. And then kat reference list, number macam contohnya list 13. Bila di dalam reference list, you kena ikut turutan number tu lah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kalau sistem Harvard, macam previous tadi, di dalam reference list, we will arrange it according to the alphabetical order. Mana yang start dengan A dulu, lepas tu B, C, D and so on sampailah Z. Macam tu. Cara kita tulis di bahagian reference list. Okay? Understand? Step 3, identify themes, debates and gaps. Macam ni lah. Ini kalau boleh dibuat, sangat bagus. Cubalah buat. Identify tema ataupun argument ataupun limitation untuk setiap artikel yang you baca. Okay, boleh tak I go cepat sikit sebab nak kena ambil anak ni pukul 5. Okay. Identifying the gaps. Ni gap macam ni kita nak how would we identify the gap ataupun limitation ataupun kekurangan, kelemahan what other people have done. A research gap is essentially the existence of a research question, perspective or problem that has not been answered in the existing literature or any field of study. Macam itulah. Maksudnya benda yang masih lagi tak solve, unsolved problem, still lagi remain question mark. Macam tu, that is the gaps lah. Identifying the research gap is important for highlighting the originality of your research. Macam tu. Okay. I just highlight yang important lah. Nanti I will share the recording nanti you can baca lah, go through. Read the recommendations for future studies, and this is what I've mentioned. Okay, untuk kita dapatkan a better idea and way forward that we should focus more. Okay, so these recommendations typically provide some insights on the research gaps in the literature. And then step 4, outline your literature review structure. You should have kalau you have an outline of your literature review, your writing tu would seem to be much more systematic. Bila kita baca tu nampaklah dia punya turutan. Okay, kita faham. Tak adalah sekejap kita cerita tentang method orang, kita compare tentang method orang. Sekejap kita cerita tentang dia punya teori pula. Sekejap kita cerita balik tentang method dia yang lain pula. Macam tu. So macam cara marba, macam apa? Unorganized lah. Nampak inorganized. If you have your structure, macam paragraph 1, what should you discuss? Paragraph 2 should discuss apa? That would be very, very nice. Then supervisor baca pun senang nak faham, jelas macam tu. No big issue macam itulah, nampak jelas. So macam tu. Yeah. Okay, ni apa ni? Outline. So outline structure. So jadi macam there are several cara lah, ways to do your literature review. Chronological. So chronological ni kita menceritakan macam history lah. Kita cerita sikit by chronology. Macam chronology kan ada dia punya turutan. Boleh juga cara itu. Jadi banyak cara. There are so many ways to make your literature review ni organized. Satu, chronology. Second, call it as thematic. Thematic ni you can organize your literature review into subsections that address different aspect. Macam umpama ada subsection. Tapi tak adalah tulis boleh juga tulis macam in literature review you can have subsection lah. Contohnya 2.0 tentang apa, 2.1 tentang apa, 2.3 subsection apa dan you cerita tentang apa. Boleh juga macam tu. Itu another way. Number 3, cara dia adalah methodological. Compare the results and conclusion that emerge from different approaches. Ada yang buat cara metodologi, compare method orang je saja. And then ada yang theoretical. Yang theoretical ni normally not for us lah, not for you, the engineering student lah. Theoretical tu normally ataupun more familiar with the social science student yang from, let's say you have friends from FSH, Fakulti Sains Sosial dan Kemanusiaan contohnya, mereka memang banyak mengkaji tentang teori. So normally their literature review would be arguing, commenting on the previous theories macam tu. Okay. Write your literature review. So start writing. So need to have a clear introduction, body, conclusion. Sama juga in any the writing, whatever writing lah, newspaper writing even, ada writing novel ke apa, memang ini adalah benda yang common. Kan yang common. Kena ada introduction dulu. Dia kena ada body, kena ada penutup. Macam itulah. Kan. Dia memang saja, memang inilah structure dia. So lagi apa? Tips and trick on writing the body of the literature review. Okay, summarize and synthesize. Ni give an overview on the main points of each source and combine and then analyze. Okay, ni lah, don't just paraphrase other researchers, add your own interpretations. Ini if you can do this, this is normally kalau for undergraduate dimaafkan lagi, tapi kalau postgraduate studies, master or even PhD, we not only paraphrase and summarize, comparing, but they need to come out with their own idea and interpretation from what they have summarized tadi. Macam tu. And then write in well-structured paragraph, macam ni lah. Kena ada structured lah, nampak supaya your body tu nampak structured macam dalam penceritaan. Critically evaluate. Ini another level if you can. Mention the strengths and weaknesses of your literature sources that you have go through. Evaluating sources. So ni apa ni? What is the author's expertise in the particular field? Apa argument dia? Apa the previous perspective? Kan? And then does the selected source contribute to a more profound understanding of the subject ke? This is how you evaluate lah. Evaluate your source of literature tu. Okay, so with that, I thank you. Okay, just maybe I can just show you contoh lah. Tadi kita pergi ke contoh lah, just a quick one lah. Macam ni sekejap nak add ni. Sekejap. Macam mana nak add? Nak add tab ni tak? Okay, contohnya you go to Google Scholar kan. Untuk Google Scholar ni. Okay, let's say contoh lah bagi. Panggil siapa panggil Farah, nampak Farah sini. Farah ada? Okay. Farah, can you give me in general lah you punya FYP project tentang apa?
Scaling up enzymatic hydrolysis.
Scaling up enzymatic
Hydrolysis
of
multiple scaling up enzymatic hydrolysis in batch bioreactor.
in batch.
Bioreactor.
Siapa you punya supervisor ni? Dr. Nazrul?
Tak tahu.
Oh, Dr. Asma. Okay. Patutlah dia tanya tentang bioreactor kan kat saya. Okay, contoh kita ambil contoh saja. Okay, let's say Farah punya ni. So Farah pun contohnya Farah pun type lah you punya rough title project kan. Scaling up of enzymatic hydrolysis in batch reactor. Ni contoh I just give you a quick one. Okay, so you tengok sis. Okay, sebelum tu kita tengok kalau you just type macam ni, okay, you can see. Okay, ni all the one listed here under Google Scholar punya ni memang adalah journal article biasanya, journal ataupun the book chapters macam tu. So tengok ni 2022 punya publication 2022. Okay, quite recent ni 2018. Ni ada 2014, macam-macam. 2017 kan. Dia bercampur-campur. 2014, ada yang lama-lama pun ada. Sometimes ada yang 18 punya, 20s pun ada, yang sangat zaman tu kaduk pun ada. So you boleh suruh dia screen, you nak 5 years latest. So you just klik sini. Biasanya di Google Scholar ni memang dia dah tulis ada 3 lah since yang tahun ini saja, atau tahun lepas ataupun 5 tahun ke belakang. So let's say you lah 2019 punya. So kalau you filter since 2019, so semua yang keluar sekarang ni adalah yang 5 tahun ke belakang. So altogether you have 2770 artikel ni yang you boleh baca kalau you darat baca. Kalau let's say lah banyaknya kan. So you can, let's say you fokus pada tahun yang terkini. Tahun ni pun dah publish 305. Ni pun dah tak tahu darat nak baca ke tak lah. Tapi you can screen lah mana yang relevan. Mungkin ada yang tak relevan kan, macam tu. So this is one way. Lepas tu contoh lah scaling up Okay, scaling up. Okay, Farah punya scaling up. Let's say kita ambil ni. Okay, kita ambil ni contoh, kita buka. Okay. So tengok lagi satu, ada artikel yang you can access to the full article. Macam ni you can dapat full access. Sebabnya dia open access. Open access tu means that article is freely accessible to all. Ada artikel yang is restricted. Maksudnya you need to subscribe. You kena bayar dulu. Kalau tak, you hanya boleh baca abstract sahaja. Macam tu. So depends. Macam mana. Kalau you tak boleh dapat dekat Google Scholar ni, let's say lah, banyak yang untuk you punya field, banyak yang restricted punya, which is you kena subscribe. So another cara, you go through yang institution punya lah. You go to library kita punya database, PSZ punya database. Sebab you see UTM ada subscribe, memang UTM bayar annually several prominent journal untuk student-student dan researcher guna lah. So sayang lah kalau you tak guna. So caranya, first you can use Google Scholar. This is my suggestion lah. You cari artikel ni di Google Scholar dulu. And then let's say lah you ada tak yang restricted kat sini contohnya. Kalau yang contohnya tajuk tu, let's say lah tengok yang I want to show you kalau ada yang tak open access. Ni pun okay, macam untuk tajuk Farah ni macam banyak yang accessible, so mudah untuk dia lah, dia boleh dapat macam ni, contoh macam ni kan. Ni pun full. Farah punya tajuk senang nak dapat, nak baca ni, semuanya open access. Okay, rezeki Farah lah ni. Tengok bidang lah. Sekarang ni banyak yang dah open access. Banyak yang dah open access. So untuk tajuk Farah banyak yang dah open access, so tak ada masalah untuk Farah. So contoh tadi kan. Okay, contoh. Okay. Bagi siapa punya tajuk yang banyak artikel dia yang sebenarnya banyak yang restricted kan. Untuk kes Farah lain, dia beruntung. Okay, contoh kalau ada yang tajuk you susah nak dapat, you hanya boleh baca abstract, so tak banyak info yang you boleh gather kan. My suggestion you go to PSZ database. PSZ online database ni. You go to sini. And then you kena log in lah. Kalau you berada di luar, you kena off campus login. Kalau tak, you can straight away gunalah. Normally I will go to here. Web of Science sini ataupun Scopus sini. You can use Science Direct punya database ke, Scopus ke, Springerlink ke, website. Biasanya for 3 ni lah. Biasanya for me, I normally guna Scopus database ataupun Web of Science database. Sebab UTM ada banyak yang university subscribe, which is dia memang we pay jutaan ringgit untuk bagi enable our students and our staff to have full access to the article. So kalau tak boleh dapat full paper di Google Scholar, try to use through the PSZ database. Contohlah, contohlah you go through the website, you kena log in supaya dia nak tahulah kita memang orang UTM lah kan. Orang luar tidak ada password, so dia tak boleh nak access. So ni just privilege to UTM punya students and staff lah. Okay, lambat pula. Okay, contohnya sini kan, dia dah buka. So normally what I did, I go to, kalau I nak cari title, go to title lah, publication title. Kalau title ni adalah title nama jurnal, you go to publication title, you type lah apa-apa title you, search. Macam tu. Cara, one of the way lah. Okay, so contoh di sini tadi, okay. So first of all, tengok enzymatic hydrolysis strategies for cellulose sugars production to obtain bioethanol. Untuk dia, yes, diguna enzymatic hydrolysis untuk projek, untuk research by Mariana ni. Mariana nama one of the author dia. Dia guna enzymatic hydrolysis, okay, macam Farah. Tapi dia untuk bioethanol production. Okay, macam Farah, untuk production apa Farah?
Untuk oligosaccharide.
Untuk oligosaccharide, which is maybe different. Sebab yang ni, dia menghasilkan bioethanol. Farah nak oligosaccharide. Contoh lah. So, mungkin paper ni tak begitu relevant. Mungkin boleh put aside dulu. Cari dulu paper yang more relevant, yang memang dia undergo enzymatic hydrolysis, and then dia pun memang produce oligosaccharide Betul. Apa-apalah yang tu, baca yang tu dulu. Kalau tak ada barulah you can baca yang benda-benda yang tu. So this is how you screen. So that you are reading the correct source and you don't waste your time. Sebab memang banyak artikel tadi kan, macam kes Farah tadi pun, kalau screen yang tahun ini saja pun ada 305 result ni. So kalau Farah larat baca ke 305 ni, bacalah kan. Tapi we don't have time. The issue is we don't have time. Kan? Itulah, so this is how you screen. Kan? Supaya you tak bazir masa. Okay. Another way juga untuk you nak dapatkan good idea is it is good if you can read a review. Okay, sebab journal ni dah ada dua main kategori. Satu, a review paper. Another one is a technical paper. Technical paper tu adalah kerja-kerja eksperimen lah. Yang ada introduction, ada materials and method presentation, ada result and discussion, ada conclusion. Itu adalah technical paper, which is researcher tu dia mereportkan what he or she has performed dan dapat result apa kat lab dia, contoh. Another one is dia bukan a technical paper, dia bukan research punya result. Dia adalah what we call it as a review paper. So paper ni dia memang review orang-orang dulu, what people have performed. And then dia argue, dia summarize. So for example kat sini, recent advances in the biocatalytic mitigation of emerging pollutants. Macam jauh sangat je dengan Farah punya tajuk tadi kan. Dia tak review yang lebih hampir. Tak apalah, kita buka je lah ni. Kita buka sini. Contohnya ni pun I think a review paper. Biasanya kalau ada recent advances tu biasanya review paper lah. Kita tengok yang betul ke tak. Yes, this is a review paper. Senang saja kita nak tahu ni review paper ke tak. Sometimes dia memang clearly tulis review. Macam ni dia tak ada tulis, tapi kita tengok. Kalau abstract, semua ada abstract. Review paper ke technical paper both have abstract, tapi kita tengok dia start dengan introduction. tak apa, introduction, kita tengok next section ni ada mechanism, foto, di situ. Dia tidak ada method, materials and method. Kalau tidak ada menceritakan materials and method, maksudnya this article is a review article. Dia bukan a technical paper. So I also recommend you for you to read a review paper. At least one review yang related dengan your project. Because review paper ni lah yang sangat, kalau dia memang betul-betul align dan memang sangat-sangat close to what you are doing, you boleh jadikan you summarize je from that review paper into your chapter 2. Macam itulah, can. Macam tu. So dia normally what we suggest for new student yang baru nak belajar, especially for master atau PhD lah, untuk dia dapatkan gambaran overview on what topik area yang dia nak kaji tu. Normally we will ask the students to go and read literature review, go and read a review paper, at least one, untuk you dapatkan overview. Okay, so I think itu sahaja. Any question that you would like to ask? Sebab I dah lewat juga ni. Okay, before we end, any question that you would like to ask? Siapa yang belum scan tadi boleh scan dulu. Okay, any question? Understand tak? Semua dah start writing your chapter 2? Vun. Okay, thank you for your response ni. Semua saya ada. Okay, Felix. Dah lama tak dengar Felix ni?
Ya, Doktor.
Have you started writing?
Yang chapter 2 belum, Doktor. Saya baru nak buat draft.
Okay. So this is just in time lah juga kan, and you maybe most of you are just starting to write your chapter 2 jugalah. Same with my students also lah. So keep on track lah. If possible, keep on track. Try to read a literature review, at least one, I suggest. And then barulah read technical paper. You also it is important for you to read technical paper sebab you want to find out what are the methods that you want to follow kan. So to know the method, you need to read a technical paper. You cannot find the methods in a literature review punya article, in a review paper punya article. Okay, so any questions? No question? Okay, semua dah all have sign pula scan. Okay, so if no question, I thank you for joining